so I can show the wood sort of. No, I guess that wood thing's fine. I would have thought the fuel would be ticking up this time. So if there's a lot of coal in there, it's like fuel is not going up. Still aware that this might not be correct and it's screwing everything, but let's just push on and see if we can get something coming out. Um, so I can actually see. So why is the fuel not going up? Fuel level does not go up. Adding this much fuel to furnace, and then we'll put in some furnace ID. You know, I don't even think I'm storing the furnace ID anywhere. So when I initialize it, let's just add in furnace data, furnace ID, just so we've got a little record of it inside the object as well. And then we can just use furnace ID here, I think. So let's see. As soon as I add this, I would expect to see some fuel being added. Okay, so that's probably a good sign. It means that it's not reaching this. So furnace ID is active and ticked. Let's see. Ticking but not doing anything. So maybe this is the problem. Maybe we don't have anything in here, so it's never doing anything, which could be the fault of this. Let's Let's say furnace data, furnaces. Let's see if that helped any. Plenty of coal, and let's see. Oh, still nothing. That means we need to go deeper. Let's see. Console log furnace data dot furnaces. It could just be that this is just a bad way of trying to validate if something is in there. So there's definitely something. Furnace ID 1, fuel level nothing. Fuel item has got something in there, quantity 5. Input item has something, quantity 1. So this could just be the problem here. How do I check the length of an object? If I have object my data dot data, how do I check how many other objects are inside that? Oh, object keys, of course. You get how many keys there are and you check the length of that. So see object dot keys and you pass in this thing and then you check the length of that. Okay. Also, I was doing this the wrong way around. Oh no. So what even if maybe this is still working, but what it says is if the length of the furnaces is less than or equal to 0, do the following. So as soon as I made a furnace, it would never run this. Ah. So maybe what I was planning on doing there was doing like a quick get out. Because I like to do that a lot in code, where instead of having tons and tons of loops, tons and tons of if conditions and nested ifs, just put in what you don't want and then return if that's the case, and then progress if it's not the case. Oh, what an idiot. Okay, let's see if this is doing something now. It is not a function. Okay. So it could be that I stumbled upon a bug while trying to fix a different bug. So let's just do the object keys and see if that fixes it. Uh, it's still saying it's not a function. Maybe this is bad. Oh yeah, yeah. So if I'm getting the keys, um, can do for I, and then you loop through the keys here. So I probably want to catch this in a variable if I'm going to keep using it. You don't want to keep doing unnecessary work if you don't have to. So let's just grab the keys there, and we'll use that anytime we want to use the furnace keys. So you loop through the furnace keys, and then to get the actual furnace data here, you can use furnace data dot furnaces, and then use the furnace key here. So that's us now looping through each of them, and we have the function, the furnace data that way. Can I just do that? No, it looks like it's broken something. So we open, but we don't need that. Is that what it is? Okay. And now you see this is getting quite long, quite gross. That's why it would be good to get this into their own functions at some point. Like this, reduce the fuel level, and then maybe return true if we did reduce the fuel level, so that way we can still return early. It's not broken yet. Let's see. Let's see what happens about a bit of that. Adding fuel, nice. So it did add fuel, and it's active and ticked. See, we can see the fuel counting 3, 2, 1, nothing. I added more fuel. I don't know why I did 0, 10. That was kind of weird. So now what we need is just a way to be um, updating this window while we're in here. So let's see. Is there something in the scene that is like refresh or update? But let's check. Let's check. Scene base. I would guess it would be in scene base if anything. Just go to scene base. Now there is update, which I'm assuming updates every frame, but that seems overkill. Is there a refresh here? No, just for the windows. The windows are refreshed, the scene is updated, it seems like. Right, can I do the dot update? Maybe I can just call this update function, but then alias it What does everything else do? Um, let's see. If this updates, then it will also call the base to update. Okay. Okay, anything that calls update seems like it also updates the base. Update scene. This might be different because it's the map. Let's just keep looking. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna rip that. Well, let's just rip the whole thing. Chuck it in here. So this is gonna be scene furnace update. We're gonna call the scene base to update, and then we're gonna do whatever we want. So this is where we need to be careful. We don't want to just bombard the game with update calls. So maybe anytime a furnace has its data changed, we set a dirty flag, which tells the system if the furnace you're looking at has the dirty flag set to true, we need to refresh the windows, and then we set the dirty flag to false. So let's see how we would do that. Furnace data, so we got all this stuff, and we can also just add in furnace data, refresh required, and then we just update refresh required anytime we change something. So in here where it ticks, we know that something's happened, so we would say furnace data refresh required equals true. In here we know that something's happened, so we set refresh required to true and then return. This is still not finished, but we'll get there. And then in the scene update, we can say let furnace data equal this dot get furnace data. If furnace data refresh required, uh, then we need to refresh. We need to update something here. Display window dot refresh. I'm not sure if that's what it should be, but let's see. Item window refresh. It's not the item window, it's only the display window, I think. Let's just see. Let's just see if that's done the job or not. So we add coal, nothing happens. That's expected. We add meat, and then we should start seeing the fuel countdown. Oh, display window refresh is not function. Where is the display window? Oh, is this because it's a base window? It doesn't have that built in, but regardless, this is what we're using. Refresh furnace data. So let's see where we used that before, just to make sure. Yeah, okay. So we need to pass in the furnace data to it. So in here we have that. We want to just do refresh furnace data and pass in the furnace data that we just got. So that's cool. And we also want to set furnace data refresh required to false so that we don't just keep doing it over and over. So let's add some fuel, add an item. There we go, it's working. It's counting down. We don't really see anything happening, which is obviously a problem. Yep, we're using the coal. Let's just let it do one more just to see. Yep, and we can still remove coal, right? Yep. And if we remove the meat, it keeps ticking, but the meat is not used or anything. So this is a weird thing. I don't know why it's popping up with 0, 10. Um, that's maybe to do with how it's being parsed when we get the fuel count. Hmm. Oh, I had some regular expression to get some good stuff back from the metadata, but I've probably lost it. Let's see, fuel level. I wonder why it's doing that. Fuel, draw fuel level. It's just taking fuel level. Draw fuel level. Let's see. Maybe just casting it as a number would get rid of the 0 at the start. Yeah, okay. It's maybe not the best way of doing it. Maybe we should be, instead of just using the metadata straight away, we should probably validate or turn it into something at the time. So where is it? Here we go. Meta fuel. Fuel, fuel to add equals. So we're going to cast it as a number from here. And there probably should be more validation here to make sure that the fuel is a number as expected. Hmm. Can I use it that way? Yeah, this is good, because if this is just a piece of text, then we try and cast it as a number and it will return sort of undefined. So if fuel to add, then we'll just have to overwrite it with a 0 or something, because we don't want the game to break, but we definitely want some kind of error to be logged. Try to add fuel that was not a number. And then we'll make fuel to add equals 0. And then we'll just add fuel to add. So I think that should stop it from being 010 as well without us having to cast it later. Okay, much better, much cleaner, better validation. Okay. And what happens if the fuel runs out? Let's see. Hopefully it will just null it. Okay, that's maybe what I was working on. That's what the gap in the code is. So when this quantity is 0, yeah, there we go. When the quantity is 0, we want to call that furnace data, reset fuel item to null, and we'll pass in the furnace data. Don't add that much. Just put one piece in. And then it's gone. It's gone. Brilliant. So you can put in a different piece of fuel and it will continue to burn what it has before using the next one. Great. Pretty close to this being functionally done. Then need to add in saving and loading, which probably won't take too long. So, if it ticked, something's added to the progress, and we should be checking if the progress has reached max. Uh, so this is more validation stuff. What we're trying to do here. Has enough progress to smelt into the output items. Have I even cared for that in here? Not really. If I do 2 pipes, will that work? Not really. Maybe just commas. Right, let's keep going for now, but I do want to add in multiple output items. So we're going to add another function that is just a way of checking if something should trigger. So this is going to be um, input item. What am I looking for here? It's if it's reached enough progress to turn into something else. Input item at max progress. Anyway, input item is ready. That's better. Furnace data. Return furnace data input item dot progress is greater than or equal to furnace data required progress is equal to furnace data input item dot meta, and this is where I need that regular expression. We're trying to match the regular expression to grab all of the important data from this meta tag. What's it? Recipe, furnace recipe or something. Furnace recipe equals that, and it's something like match equals furnace recipe dot match. Then we pass in the regular expression, and then this match becomes a couple of different values. But this is going to be a couple of steps. Let's see. I need to grab the furnace recipe text, and then the whole string after the colon, but inside the brackets. Should not be in my results. Hold on. The metadata will be the last string actually. What am I talking about? So the metadata will be just this part, I believe. I want to be able to separate by the comma. Then, you know what, maybe it's not a regular expression. We just split it on the comma and split it on the pipe. Yeah. But then we want to get the I as well. Okay, all I'm needing here is that. That's probably all I'm really looking for. Anchor the match to start the string. Okay. Capture a single uppercase letter. Let's try and keep it open. I don't want it to be a single uppercase letter. It should probably be uppercase or lower. So that's maybe just A to Z and then A to Z again, but the lowercase. Captures one or more digits in the second capture group. One or more digits. Okay, so this is just the way of getting any sort of number. Anchors the match to the end of the string, ensuring no extra characters. Okay. Letter should be uppercase or lowercase. I think it is just the lowercase letters slapped in there alongside the capital AZ, but doesn't hurt to double check. Yep, there we go. Just right in after it. So let's take that. Is that is that okay? Can I just put that in like that, or do I need to put it in um, quotes or something? You know, let's leave it like that. Oh, let's see, let's see. Yeah, you do. You just leave it like that. Okay. So match. Here's what I'll do. Furnace data dot furnace recipe regular expression. Um, although it's not really that. It's not really that at all. This is probably not where this goes at all. But I do want to keep a hold of that. So here we go. We've got the recipe. And what are we doing? Um, maybe it's something like this. So you split it on the pipe, and then the thing that comes after all these is what you get out of it. No, no. The thing after this is how long it takes, how many ticks it takes to get all these items. So, furnace recipe split furnace data dot no, it's furnace recipe dot split. Is that how we do it? The separator is going to be the pipe, and then there's no limit. Progress required, or required progress, equals furnace recipe split, and then 1, because it's the bit afterwards. So that's all we need there. This could be shortened. You can just put all this on the same line probably, but that makes it a bit less readable. It's nice to see what it's actually doing here. So we get the whole recipe from the meta, and then we split it by the pipe, which gives us all the items that we get, and then so all the items will be in 0, and how long it takes will be in 1. And then we just check the progress against how much you need. So if the input item has enough progress, so we've just created input item, you know what, I don't like the name of that. It should be a question. Is input item ready? is input item. And then pass in furnace data. So if the item is ready, what we're going to do, we're going to reduce the quantity um, and if the quantity is 0, we're going to have to clear it, kind of like we did with the fuel item here. Furnace data dot reset